Hello and welcome back to part 16 of how to make a HexTile board game in Unreal Engine. Apologies for the delay. I know it's been a while since my last video. Just been really busy working on. So one of the games I'm working on, actually my first ever game, Champion of India, and I'm participating in the Steam Next Fest here in June. So it's about 2 weeks. So I've been spending all my free time trying to get that ready. It's just like a demo fest for upcoming games. So yeah, if you could give it a wish list, I'd really appreciate that. But that's kind of prevented me from making some videos and continue the tutorial. But I'm going to be back at it today, and then hopefully you can get to a better pace to at least have something coming out a little bit more consistently. But where we left off was a continuation on some of the battle resolution and casualties. And we got some bugs slash some additional logic to work through. So that's where we're going to pick it up, is just kind of cleaning up bugs and getting all the correct outcomes for each battle, which will be good. And the way I'm going to work through this is within our game mode turn-based. We have a function called dice roll. So this is when the die roll, and they send the roll number into here. So I'm going to disconnect these. It's going to be temporary, but I'm going to kind of stack the battle and outcomes just so it's easy for us to test. So as an example, we'll work through some of the attacker winning logic first. So I'm going to give attacker die roll a 6, defender die roll a 0, and then I'm going to do the same on casualties. I'm just going to make this 0 for now. So attacker will win, no casualties, and we're going to work through that logic and get that to work. So let's figure out what the problems are first. So we're the attacker. We come in, we attack 3-3 right now, begin the battle. Dice rolls won't matter. So those are 6 and 0 that we manually keyed in. So the attacker wins. And there will be no casualties. Oh, that's kind of annoying, actually. You can continue without seeing the casualty. That might be something we fix, but we'll come back to that later. So we won the battle. And I think for the attacker, when we win, we should change this text up here in the top because it's cycling our turn, which is what we want, but we also want the defender to move their army away, right? They have to route, choose a tile to route to. And then our army needs to occupy that title or that tile, and then it should cycle turns. So let's work through. Let's figure out the text first, because I think that'll be the simplest. So back into our game mode, turn-based, die roll, casualty. So when the attacker wins, if true, if casualties is greater than, if false, toggle route mode, and when complete, set number of casualties, show casualty HUD, client. Okay, so I think we just want to make a function within our player controller, because I think we're doing that. Well, actually, I wonder, where do we, I don't remember where we cycle turns. This is the only place we're doing this. Update battle outcome client. Update casualties. One second, let me figure this out quick. Okay, what we're gonna do, go to your player controller turn-based. We're gonna make some events. This one here, attack and move to. Oh man, this is a mess. Just gonna make a little area over here. So, custom event. I'm gonna call this update header. And all we're going to do is we'll grab a reference to our HUD. And And in our HUD, we have this turn text, which sets this. So what I want to do is set turn text. And I'm going to, can I append this? No, I need to do to text. Or is this already text? To string, I think. Yeah, to string. I'll do an append. And I'll show you what I'm doing here. This will make sense once we get it done. It's just going to be something to tell the attacker what is going on and what they're waiting for. Because it'll be something like U1 defender resolving, and then I'm going to do a space. This is important, a space, add a pin. This is going to be the number of casualties. So defender resolving space number space casualties. And what we'll do to int, yes, to do to int, and we'll plug this into the custom event and click on this update header, and we'll name this better to like update HUD text. I think that's a little bit better. And we'll have this replicated on owning client and reliable. Let's straighten that up. So then what this will be, this input will be number of casualties. So let's say it's 2 casualties, and say U1 defender resolving, well, maybe not defender. Maybe we can use this for, well, okay, actually, let's do defender. Defender. We'll do this update text ATK win. So for the attacker win underscore client, which is a disaster of a title, but we might need a couple of these. So I think this helps distinguish this a little bit. So this is only going to be when the attacker wins. So U1, defender resolving number of casualties. So the integer will come through. So I'm back into our GM turn, game mode turn based in the die roll casualty. So we want to look at this attacker wins, and we're going to come down off this completed line of code. We just copy and paste this casualties. Grab this here, and we have a reference to our attacking player controller. Get that, and then call that event update HUD text attacker win client, and pass this through. Okay, so now let's test this. It's gonna be a pretty boring video, by the way. This is how we're gonna do this, just scenario by scenario, test, debug, and get this running a little bit smoother. Win, and let's wait for the casualty roll. Okay, U1, defender resolving 0 casualties, which we have overridden, so that's good. And for the defender, they have 0 casualties, so they need to pick a place to route to, which their units are selected, which is good, but I don't think we've programmed the movement yet. So let's go down that code. So attacker wins true on the completed. The defender player PC set number of casualties server. So it's just setting this variable. Just deduct, okay. And show casualty HUD client. So this runs on the owning client, switches on the number. This route army function. Okay, so it just updates the text. And this gets the tiles that we can route to. Okay, so we just need to add some. Is it the best place to do it? I think we'll actually do it off here. So in the game mode, we have this set number of casualty server. This is a server event, so we want to run logic off of here. And so what we want to do is, okay, so what's happening is the way our logic works in our game mode, if the attacker won, and if there's no casualties, we toggle the route mode. And this is toggling from each defending unit. So what that does is it sets the unit to routing, it highlights the unit, and sets them selected, which picks them up. So that's all working fine. What's not working is within our player controller, when we click on a tile, so whenever we click on a tile, that logic actually runs in the tile. Where's the unclicked? So I can show you / remind you. Unclicked, so it can't be traversed, right? It grabs player controller, it's clicking on it, and runs this event. And this event does, are we in a decision, and do we have units selected? This is where we're breaking, because the game doesn't think we have units selected yet, even though we technically do. So all we're going to do is come back to our game mode turn-based, and what we'll do is grab our defender player controller. So when we go into this route mode, off this has units, what is it, units, let's see, get units, there it is, get units selected, or not get, shoot, set units selected. We will set this to true. Okay, so now, let's test this out again. Get in the battle. Okay, so now we should, actually, I don't think it's going to work yet. And the reason it's not working, I don't think we have the units selected. Let's see, so let's look at this. So where we're failing is on this branch, which is not true. This is looking at, is the tile 2 contained in the adjacent tiles? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to handle some of this logic via an event in our defender player controller. I think that'll make things easier. So come back into your player controller, and I guess we can kind of come over here where we're doing some of the casualty logic. Custom event, and let's do, I don't know, for now we'll just call this route mode server. So run on the server, and we'll be reliable. And so some of the things we want is, I'm going to actually bring this through right now. So we can delete this and route mode server, run this in our game mode. I have to have a couple different inputs come through. But what we'll do here is this is going to get set to true, unit selected. Let's grab our selected unit array. So the first thing we're going to do is just clear this in the event that we do have some unit selected. So we'll clear it and then we'll get it again. And actually, not get, we're going to set it. Selected unit array. And so this will come through the event, and this is going to get set with the units that are being routed. So those units will get passed through to here, and then we'll set this to true. So that'll make sense. And our tile 2, we'll do that later. Okay. Now what I want to figure out is selected tile from. Where is that? Okay, yeah, that's the last thing we gotta set. So come back to it. This, where is it? Selected tile from. We'll set this, pass this through. And so this will be set from the, we just gotta make sure we set this from the tile that we're moving from. And then our tile 2 will come through when we click. So this tile from contains adjacent tiles. Okay, and then I think we have to set our adjacent tiles, which I think is handled in the tile blueprint. Not so, at least. Let's see, when we click a tile, turn on, unclicked. Where do we set our adjacent tiles? Add selected tile. Oh, okay. So let's actually, we can just use this function. I thought we had this. Add selected tile from. Okay, so instead of doing this, do add selected tile from, and that'll handle all that logic. So this should take care of everything we need. What's this note we get? No value will be returned by reference, and that is just because we don't have it set up here yet. Okay, so then the defending unit array will go through here. And the tile from will be the defending tile. All right, compile that, and that should take care of the note. I think this is fine. Units selected, they're added to the array. And we're doing this logic where we're setting the tile, getting the adjacent tiles, all that. Okay, this should work. Attackers win. Okay, now we have to route. Boom. Okay. Oh, that feels good. It's nice to see things finally come together and work. Okay, so then when this completes, we then want to, when this completes, then the unit that is attacking needs to move into the occupied tile. So let's think about that. How can we do that logic? I think we want to do it off when we select a tile. what I'm trying to think through here. Toggle casualty mode, toggle route mode. This is within the unit. Highlight, select. I'm forgetting what is setting. One sec. Okay, this is what I was looking for. I was looking for where we're setting the logic for setting the tiles we could route to. So within our game mode, die roll casualty. On the completion of the attacker wins, there's a show casualty HUD client. And in here, we pass through our toggle on routing tiles, which player index passes through. This is true, false, on, off. Okay, so when on, we get the tiles, and it is only getting tiles that we own or are not owned by another, or yeah. So tiles that we own we can route to, or tiles that don't have units on them. So occupied tiles that don't belong to us, we can't route to. And the reason I was trying to think through that is where I wanted to put in some logic in our move to of, are you moving during a route? Because if that is true, then we're going to run an event back to the game mode to tell it that the routing's done, and then we can have the attacking army move in to occupy the tile. So what we can do is we can actually probably just do it right after this, and that actually makes it a little bit simpler. So let's do a branch, and right click, promote this to variable, and just do routing, question mark, and compile that and make this replicated. Okay. And coming back down here quick to our route mode server, we're going to set this to true. Boom. Okay. And then, so if this is true, let's grab our game mode turn-based, and then we'll do an event in here. Or I guess we can do a function, just keep that going on. Routing complete. And come back to the player controller quick and just do routing complete and connect that to the true. Okay, so when the routing is complete, what we'll do is we'll then take the attacking, let's see, let me think about this. We want to move these attacking units to the defending tile. So for sure I need both of these, and maybe our attacking player controller. Now I'm just trying to think through, like, what's the cleanest way to do this logic? And I think it might be to actually run it through this. Just keep this, like, actually run it through this event. What we'll have to do, because the attacker will already have these units selected. So this might work, actually. So let's try this. Move units to tile. And because the attacker already has these units selected, we might not even need to grab them because they should already be referenced. And I'm just trying to think, like, this should... Yes, this is saying this is not a neutral tile, effectively. And we don't own it, so it might look at this as an attack. We just want to test something quick because we might have some other logic we need to clean up. So this unit goes here and then here. So red owns both of these tiles. Oops. If blue moves on there, does it still think this is an attack? Okay. Yeah, we got to clean that up. So, okay. Quick deviation, but obviously if we're attacking a blank tile, I don't want any combat. So let's fix that logic quick. Okay, so I'm gonna slide this stuff down a little bit. Give ourselves some more room. And move this over. Let's see, this is the tile 2. Get units on tile. So grab this array and get the length. So this is how big is this array? And then is this greater than 0? So basically, are there units on this tile? If that is true, attack the tile. If it's not, then it's effectively, right, just a movement. Slide that over. Okay. That should clean up that bug, so let's just test that quick. All right, move this guy here, move him there. Good. And the tile color updates for everybody. And then if he moves to here, good, attack. Okay, perfect, good. Got a couple errors from that though, so let me look at those and I'll be right back. Okay, I found the problem for the errors. First, this by default, our routing should be false. The other one is sometimes on the client. So one thing to remember, game mode only exists on the server. It doesn't exist on the client. And this event we're running, it'll run on the client when the client's the one clicking. So this is always going to run on the client. And because the game mode doesn't exist on the client can't access it. Now we have it replicated, which means if the server sets this variable, then it's replicated to the client. But for whatever reason, I think it's a timing thing. Right? We're getting our game mode. I'm just going to copy all this get cast set. We're getting this game mode off the begin play. And the instance of the player, I think, first starts on the server. So like the server version of the client comes into the game first, and then the client side of it is a little bit later. So I think what's happening is this, well, oh yeah, because authority. This is running prior to the client coming into existence, and thus it's missing this being set and then replicated through. I think that's what's happening. Either way, it's not that big of a deal. We'll just copy it. I'm going to paste it up here. I'll do a custom event and call this get GM, and we'll make this run on the server reliable. And we'll plug that in here. So this is just going to rerun that logic, and it'll set the variable, and it's replicated. So when we come back to this logic, I'm going to pull both of this out. I'm going to convert this to a validated get. If this is valid, straighten this out. If this is valid, right, we're good to go. It's just annoying me. It's getting offset, whatever. But if it's not, actually I gotta move this back over anyways. If it's not, we need to get GM. And let's grab this. Put that in. I'm going to clear all the plugins. I'm doing it this way because if it's valid, it'll just grab it here and pass it through. If it's not, we're going to get it, reset it, and then come back through and pass it through. So you might be able to do it this way. I don't know. Do it this way. I know this should work. So this is where you get the variable, and this should clean up some of our validation issues. And let's test this again. Okay, the unit moves here, unit moves here. Empty tile, unit moves, good, and I got no errors. That's perfect. Okay, back to what we were doing. So the routing complete. Oh yeah, okay. So let's test this now. So when the attacker wins the battle, continue. So right now the attacker can't do anything. Right, defender resolving casualties, that's good. Defender comes in, they're gonna pick a place to route to. So let's go like that. And our logic didn't run, and we got an error. So if you just click like the last step in here, it'll take you to where, okay, move tile. It's the same thing, it's just struggling to, oh, so it's not getting this. Game mode. It should be. Okay. Well, change of plans then. Let's do a custom event. Let's call this complete routing. And have this run on the server. And we can get rid of this. Keep this. Disconnect this. Move this over here. Plug this in. This is server reliable. And just for testing purposes, I'm going to do a print string here. Error. Okay, and so then off of this move to do the complete routing. And you know what? Better yet, we'll do this check here first. That way the server doesn't get bogged down with it, even though it's not a lot. If routing true, complete routing. If valid, do this. If not, do this. Just plug that in. Okay. And let's give this another go. Get in the battle. Zero casualties. Move back to the woods. And our logic didn't run. So let me troubleshoot this. Oh, I finally got this. Okay. So what we did is when we're moving units, we have this variable is decision. If that is not true, so if this is false, we move on. And we did this so like, well, the dice are rolling and stuff. The player whose turn it is can't, keep moving units, right? So it prevents you from moving in. But this is preventing any logic from continuing, and I should have cut this earlier, but I've been testing this for like 15 minutes. We finally got it. So come back to your game mode, turn base, and all this stuff. Don't worry about that. So within the routing complete, we don't actually need this. We're going to set this to false. So off the attacking player controller, do set is decision, and just leave that false, and then do the move units to tiles. So, or to tile. So then once you have that, this should all work as intended. Here's our server, attacks, in battle. Continue. And we'll route there. And you can see the unit has occupied the tile successfully. I'm just going to test this with 2, and I'm going to do it from the client side actually. So kind of 2 for 1. So grab 2, attack. And I did notice this bug earlier. This battle preview HUD isn't going away on the client when they attack. So we'll clean that up after this because it makes this really messy. Nonetheless, client wins. The attacker is going to route back to here. Good. And both moved up. And that's perfect. Okay. So that is working great. What we need to do is go to this battle preview though. So let me figure out what's driving that. Okay, here's what we're going to do for that widget. So it's the battle preview widget. I'll show you how I got that quickly so you don't have to search it. When we attack a tile, we do this battle preview widget client, and then we're creating this widget, battle preview widget. What we'll do is when you click attack or withdraw, type in remove from parent. Let's have both of these plug in here. So this will remove it from the widget, or from the screen. And then what I want to do is, oh, and actually, you know what? The problem was, we're setting this on the client side, which we do every time, so this should work. Oh well, doesn't matter. We can just get rid of this logic. And now when the client attacks, that should go away. So here's the battle preview, attack, good, it's gone. Boom. Okay, the last thing I want to do is after we route and the attacker occupies, on the HUD, this should change to like, waiting for your turn or whatever. How do we normally do that? I thought that was in here. Route army. Yeah, on my turn change. So what we'll do is on this routing complete, I think we can just do cycle turns. Which I thought that was something in here. Is that an event? Yeah, cycle turns. So routing complete, cycle turns. And I just want to see. Yeah, okay. I think that should do it. And at least finish out this scenario of testing. In battle. Boom, boom. They lose. Your turn. Waiting for your turn. Awesome. Cool. Well, I think that's where we're going to stop for now. I think the other ones will go, the other scenarios will go quicker. I mean, this is really kind of one of four. So next we have to do attacker wins with casualties, and then it'll be defender wins, no casualties, defender wins with casualties. But we'll be able to go through those a lot quicker because we've kind of built out the understanding of how we're going to do this, and we can kind of reuse some logic too. So, um, pretty tedious, and sorry I was kind of figuring some things out as we go, but um, I think we got a pretty good solution here. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Um, Planning on getting another video up here this week, and trying to improve the tempo a little bit so it's not so long in between. But thanks again.